Alright. I don't have everything yet, but figured I ought to document the initial unveiling of my first ever camera, the Blackmagic Cinema Camera MFT mount. It doesn't look like this, it doesn't have that or that, it's just this, but it does have that. Bit of a dumb design because if you pick it up, then it starts to fall apart. And DaVinci Resolve is not included in this model because I bought it for $400 cheaper. But it's still basically brand new. And also being unboxed today is our Voigtlander 17.5mm super fast down to f-stop lower than 1.95 MFT native mount lens. Because of the 2.3 crop factor, the 17.5 made for MFT, which is a 2 crop factor, so normally this makes a perfect 35, but in our case it makes more of a 40, a little bit higher than 40mm lens. I cannot wait to try it out. Nobody really is used to playing with lens sizes for this, so it's all experimental, which is in my nature. On top here we have all sorts of foreign shit so that we know we can charge it in other countries. Bunch of adapters that plug into this guy. Still got its case on, definitely unused. We'll set that aside for now. Got a lens strap, also unused. The hood cleverly plugs in right to the camera. Look at it like this. This is how the camera gets to see me. Sometimes I close one eye because my left eye is not as good, and I got my glasses in the way. This is totally essential for shooting outside because the screen is a glossy screen. At some point, they sell some of these that have magnifying lenses built in right here. At some point, I might get a fancy version of that, but for now, just some black cloth, if this isn't good enough, will be fine. I'll sew something up because you got to be able to see what you're shooting, especially when it comes to focusing. And finally, again, sort of stupid packaging here. You got to like lift it out by the lens mount, which makes me a little nervous, but it's a little bit heavy, which is good, because it's not a fucking toy, although it is kind of a toy. You want to see yourself? There's yourself. That's a glossy screen right there. I'm not recording anything yet, though. Solid state drive goes in here. That's in the mail, so I can't actually record anything. However, I can use my Thunderbolt cable and I can record directly into you, the computer. We got audio jacks here. These aren't XLR. They're 1/4 inch and they have to be mono in there because you have to use them in parallel stereo, but if you use a stereo converter then it won't accept that. That's one thing that I learned recently. But you can get all sorts of adapters that plug in on top. We got 1/4 inch screws in the top, and that's going to be for your tripod mount, but you can get a cheese plate on the bottom and you can hang things out the side. Like, spend as much money on you as you want accessorizing. For XLR, I'm probably going to mostly use a Zoom and record my audio externally. We got standard headphone, remote control, that's separate. I didn't get one of those because I do my video diary on the computer, not really out in nature. Maybe someday. SDI, so that's going to be a lot of times, like, this is a great camera for shooting in a really enclosed area, but still getting behind it and trying to like see your shot behind it, that can be difficult. If this is up against a wall, you can take an SDI out and put a monitor, a small one like you'd get on a DSLR, or you could like plug it into like a real TV over here and you could monitor from the side. This is also great because you can't really see what's going on here once this is on, which we'll go ahead and plug this in here. can't really see it because this sun visor will be blocking the view for anybody except whoever is doing that. So as a director, you ideally work with a director of photography, which ideally wouldn't be me. And so I'm like peeking over the side, like, what are you doing there? I want to see the shot. So it would be really great if you could have two screens for the director and the director of photography to work together. Are we ready? Let's turn this puppy on. The on button. This is always funny to see. Oh, it's right here. It's power. All right. Well, ooh, it came on. It came on. Oh, it's an early unveiling. Let's turn it off. We don't have a lens on there yet. Maybe you hold it down to turn off. There we go. So we'll set that down for a second here. Open up our lens. It's like Christmas. Only you paid a lot of money for Santa to visit you. I'm not as reverent about this because I did look at it, but I haven't used it. So the real exciting part is going to be when it actually plugs into the camera. But this is it here. It's the Voigtlander 17.5 millimeter focal length with a minimum focus distance of about 5 inches and aperture from 0.95 pretty accurately up to about 5, and then it jumps and goes 8, 11, 16. Same thing with the focal distance. Very precise focal distance up to about 2 feet, and then it jumps to 4 feet, and then we're at infinity shortly after that. But so there are. Let's see if we can get that in focus. Focus. It doesn't really want to focus, but yeah, let's narrow that all the way down here. Boom. Yeah, real close, and ooh, 0.95. This is better than the human eye. You can film a black cat at night with this kind of thing. You know, you can firelight conversations and you'll be able to see the guy better than you could with your eye. So I might use this not even recording, just like night vision. You know what I'm saying? All right. Before I plug it in, it does awesomely come with a lens hood here with a separate lens cap, and you can screw your filters into the lens hood, and the lens hood itself screws directly into the... No, you screw your filters into the lens, and the lens filters have screws on both sides, and this will screw into the lens filter. I ordered 2 sets of filters, variable UV, as well as the UV filter, variable polarization, and then fluorescent filter, which takes the green out of shooting under fluorescent lights. And then so that was one set, and then I ordered another set for macro photography. It was only 13 bucks, and that makes the focal distance even shorter if you need to, and you can get some really great close-up stuff. This is probably going to be my smallest lens that I'll have for this, and the plan is to mount it vertically for the effects bench to shoot down and have the work right here similar to an animation table. So we want to get some like detail shots where you don't even know what you're filming. It's just like crisp level that we don't detect. So we'll get some unique visuals by doing that. For now, I'm going to leave this in this package and separately. With those lens kits, I think I got a bigger hood for it that comes with it, and like a cleaning cloth and stuff like that. So everything that I could need on this lens, and those polarization filters I learned are totally essential for shooting during the day. Otherwise, you're just not going to have any control of your focus because your aperture is going to be wide open, or as small as possible at like biggest number, so like at a 22. And this only goes to 16, so this probably would be useless in the fucking, excuse my language, in the bright, sunny Los Angeles midday. So that's not really what we want. We'll get a polarization filter on there. It's going to cut some of the color, but it's going to make it so we can actually see. And then when it comes to nighttime, it'll just be gorgeous. Okay. Here we go. Let's take this off for now. Careful. Lens cap is off. Oh, you want to see the sensor? Oh, yeah. It's beautiful in there. Now the MFT is the closest mount to the sensor that you can get, which gives you the highest level of compatibility with other lens mount types that are further away from the sensor. So you can put a little pancake disc in between and you can mount an EF or a PL. Did you hear that click? Oh, that's pretty. So it's safe in there. It's not going to do anything unless I hold the release here. Oh, I love that click. That is beautiful. And ooh, it's a little top heavy now. Voigtlander. There we go. Now let's turn it on. Am I right? Got a solid piece of glass. Oh, yes. Focusing it up. Wow, I thought that I was not looking that good on this video, but actually I'm looking pretty good. Oh, I'm gonna blow it out. Ooh. Oh, let's get dark. That is just amazing. Alright, looks like my settings here. I'll share this with you. Let's see here. Let's get... We'll do it like that. Try and not get a reflection here. Let's bring up the brightness. Get some focus. Wow. Let's get really close, huh? I wish I could be recording right now. Oh, but I am on the computer at least. That's nice. So, you're saying there's not a lot of color in there. Well, that's because it's probably in film mode. So, this is got a few buttons down here, and if it's got an active mount, then you can do some electronic control over it, but forget that. This is cinematography, not photography. We're not running around shooting sports dudes. We're picking precise shots. So I don't care about that. All my lenses are going to be passive prime lenses. And the controls here are touch screen. So what we're seeing is the name of the camera. We're going to have to change that. Mic inputs, none. But there is a built-in mic for scratch audio and a built-in speaker for recording stuff. Recording format. Right now it's recording RAW. Doesn't matter because it's not recording, but we got ProRes, DNX as well. So we're going to switch to ProRes, keep the file size small until we care about it. Dynamic range, video or film. So that's recording settings. So we actually want to record at the film. And this, we're in the digital age. We need to record at 29.97. That 24 frame rate, it doesn't really make sense if you're doing digital. A lot of people are like, oh, it's going to be like a real film, but it's not, because it's not real film. So why would you play it back slower? It doesn't make sense. Time lapse. This goes up to 10 minutes per frame, so that's a pretty darn slow time lapse. That's cool. We'll do some of that. Monitoring. This is going to be the display settings. So right now it's on film. We just switched it to video, and now you'll be able to see a lot more color. Am I right? Yeah, the screens to screens, you can't really tell very well, but I'm telling you right now that I can see a lot more color. Oh man, the depth of field on this is amazing. I'm switching right back and forth between the vacuum cleaner and the window. Good thing I'm not recording. No SSD in there. We got ProRes, 200 ASA, 180 degrees viewing angle. That's something I need to change because, where's my box here? I believe the viewing angle is, I'm going to have to look up the technical specs on this, which I think I actually have right here. And the viewing angle is not 180 degrees. Mostly other languages. Cinematography is really a world sport. Okay, description of parts, specifications, focal length 17.5, maximum aperture 0.95, minimum f/16, 9 groups, 13 elements for the lens construction. Angle of view is 64.6 degrees, 10 aperture blades, minimum focus is 0.15 meters, about 5 inches. Macro ratio is 1:4. Filter size 58 millimeters. Good, I got the right size. Maximum diameters 63.4 millimeters without the hood. The length is 80 millimeters without the hood. The weight is 540 grams. It's pretty heavy. It's a substantial piece of glass. You can feel it. And micro 4/3 mount with standard lens hood with hood cap. Selective aperture control system. And what they mean by selective aperture, the one thing this lens doesn't offer that some of the other prime lenses that I was looking at do offer is you can feel the click, 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 stop. At each stop it has a stopping point. If you use the SLR Magic lens, then it's fluid and you can walk through a door and change your aperture as you go through that door for the different lighting on the inside and out, and you won't notice anything video wise. That's really important. So this is a closer lens, so it's more for close-ups, more for portraits and that kind of thing anyway. And I'm planning on getting the SLR Magic 25 millimeter, which for me will be about a 60 millimeter, and that will be what I would use for going through a door and stuff like that. And it's actually cheaper than the Voigtlander. It's about $200 cheaper. This was like $1,200. The other two Voigtlander lenses that are very nice, the 25 millimeter and the 42.5 millimeter, I believe, to make a, or no, it's a 45, something like that. Trying to make a 90 out of the typical 2-up conversion factor. I want to get that one from Voigtlander, and the middle one I'm going to switch to SLR Magic, and it's only $800. Only $800. So my ideal 3-lens set is going to be $3,000 even, with this one being $200 over, that one being $200 under, and the third being like $1,000 even. And that's just basic. The camera itself is normally $2,000, down from $3,000 when it came out. I paid $1,600 for it. Solid state hard drive is, you know, $200 for a big enough one that you want. Microphone kit, you know, $500 at least to get that set up. $350 for a tripod. Embarking on the beginning of the film journey is very expensive, but I ended up spending $3,000 even on the camera, plus the lens, plus everything else that I ordered. The filters, the hard drive, the very essentials for just recording one shot. It's about $3,000. So, and that's about half of overall what I like to spend in order to get the rigging all set up, and everything that you would need for the basic thing would be $6,000 or $7,000. So, time to make some money with this puppy, am I right? Thank you for joining me. I'm about to go outside and film some pretty shit, or pretend to. Ciao. The date is October 17th at 1:16 p.m.